Blanca. So yeah, maybe.
It's a classic. Oh boy.
So let's see how these laning matchups are going to go. We've got the the aggression coming out, but we've got the Orb of Venom up here on the Ogre. It's going to be a hard time for him to catch Boomy. If he does, though, he should be able to do a decent job of him. But just look at that movement speed, 330 base. It just means that this Orb of Venom is completely useless. Oh, he's been able to right-click him once, though. Pretty big deal. With the ignite.
Why? Yeah, that's a Boomy. Yeah, he's actually got a TPR. You see, once 343 actually gets on him with the ignite and the Orb of Venom, then he does a lot of damage. Why did Omega try and go just shove out the lead with the Blood Riot and the Illumina? Are they just wanting to force AlaCrity to farm underneath the tower?
Force him to farm under the tower, but also you're a lineup that's really strong as soon as you get your levels, right? You can always guarantee that you're going to get a decent amount of farm on the Bloodseeker, and especially when you're combining it together with the Keeper of the Light, you just want to be able to spam out those Chakra Magics as quickly as possible. They're doing a pretty good job getting these last hits though, AlaCrity, has to be said. Forced to rotate forwards, so he's going to take the brunt of that eliminate damage, but not get silenced. You can see here he's very believing in his own ability to be able to position himself. Tino might be in a little bit of trouble on this top side though. They're committing heavily. Yeah, there it is.
Able to, I'm like, for a second they got so unlucky because the Burrow tried to set up for the arrow, but the creep tanked it. Just didn't matter though. Yeah, and we see. Well, the Brewers are 5. How do you feel like Brew's going to be able to protect the Alchemist? Is it not as a defensive support maybe they need for Tino?
I mean, on the laning stage, it does stuff all in the laning stage. Once the team fights start to happen and you are level 6, you know, you've got much more of that defensive capabilities, but it's just about getting there, especially against, like I keep saying, the guaranteed stun combination that you've got here. And as these levels start to ramp up as well on kYxY, you're just going to get more range on that Burrow Strike to be able to catch him out.
So is this a lane where you think CML just has to be constantly playing for the pull and just allowing Tino to farm under the tower? What was that acid? What?
I don't know, man. Tino's been using some weird spells, I have to say.
But yeah, he ate the 2 tangos at the start of the last game, and now he's just chucking a spray down for nothing. You saw the ping as well. They're like, what the heck? So funny.
I wouldn't let that fly in my pubs. I'd be like, what are you doing?
Just an instant ping.
A very positive player, you know. Max getting a little bit of harassed in this mid lane. He's going to be forced to back up somewhat. He's already forced by another set of tangos from the harass coming out from Nikko, so I think he's been doing a really good job, despite the fact that, you know, like I mentioned before, all that magic damage, Resonant Pulse doesn't really care about it.
Mac actually, he's going to hit the Dissimulate now with the Resonant Pulse, but he's going to be able to keep his life and spot the do see CML fall though. So this is, I mean, we saw yesterday the Sand King and the Mirana have such a good lane, and then it really enabled the Mirana. And then we saw after that game they picked the Mirana but without a stun setup, and it just fell on its head. And it's kind of similar already. You know, we've seen 2 games on both sides where you've got a Sand King Mirana and then a Mirana without a stun, and it's just completely night and day. Like, your hero just thrives with at least someone to enable you.
You can actually snowball. You can carry the game on your own. And again, this Zone of Shadows build, I like it. This is what you want to see. Just more and more harass coming through. They've been able to get 1 stack up here of the small camp. So Tino, if he gets the luxury to be able to secure that, he's going to be feeling pretty happy. But again, he's just forced underneath his tower.
Already like as well that last game we saw a lot of emphasis from Boomy to be able to make some stacks in the jungle. There's already a double at the Ancient and a double at the Heart as well. So this is a nice thing, Boomy having 375 movement speed. And you've also, you know, Bok is not really going to get pressured. Morphling, not someone who can, if it's a really good lane and you're solo, then you can definitely shove him out, but at least Morphling kind of gets some CS with the Blood Riot.
I'm liking this from 343 as well. He's making a really aggressive rotation, but I think it's needed. A, you give Morphling space, because right now Alchemist is having a horrible time, and you don't want to let the Alchemist team get more than 2 bounty runes every single time.
CML. Oh, there we go. Burrow combo. And I love that Destrice is getting all the kills. Whether he's meaning to or not, this the Spirit Vessel is going to be so incredibly important in this game to deal with the Alchemist throughout the early stages.
Yeah, for sure. Even the Gyrocopter, if he extends too far forward, right? Like, it's a good amount of damage super early on. CML has been reasonable with his positioning in these. You know, he's even body blocked a couple of these arrows that have been aiming for Tino's Alchemist. And, oh man, look, even this vision coming through here. Been able to place it up so they know that the Alchemist has been pulled back towards the jungle. They can see the stacks that are starting to form. He's probably just going to walk into the... Oh, is he going to need to use the leap to get there? Yep, he just body blocks it up. TP's back to base. He's done his job.
Has been very impressed with how Destrice has been playing so far throughout the start of this game. And man, Radiant are looking really good in the last hits as well. Sand King on top, they've already forced the Elk out. So this is mean kYxY is going to have a very, very fast blink if he wants to go down that route. And it's also shoving the wave in when you've got a catapult. This tower is going to end up dying here.
Top tower is under attack.
Doing a great job.
Dire's structures are fortified.
It turns out stuns make the game really easy.
Under
You know, pick your stuns in pubs. All you need.
I would say it has to be one of the easiest ways to play Dota.
Dire's top tower.
It's so basic, but you don't draft stuns, then man, Dota feels incredibly hard to play.
Yeah. The old Alliance roster, now Team Liquid, were just like, look, we just draft more stuns than people, and we win because of it. Makes sense to me. They've been able to get another couple of stacks off here with the Keeper of the Light stacking up the Ancient stack. Now you've reached that coveted level 6 as well on the Alchemist, and even Luck's out getting the Possessed Mask, so he's just going to be able to stay in the jungle, not worry all too much about it, but the downside is kYxY, he is free farming topside.
Dire are
Yeah, and they're not really been putting much pressure on top of some of the side lanes as well. Like, see the Morphs having a good time, even mid. You don't have the impact. Like, it's a very defensive kind of position for where Cuddle is just putting a lot of emphasis on making stacks and securing the Elk. So it means that Galaxy Racer have to really ramp up the pressure, and they're going to do just that. So the arrow's going to be off the mark, but still Nikko with the double damage room, with the help of the rest of the supports here, are going to be able to dive the Gyrocopter under the tower. But Bob and Boomy will rotate in. Looks like the Ogre, unfortunately, will end up falling. Even the Sand King's going to show up here as well.
Yeah, just that lingering thirst movement speed able to get him away. He's going to be able to grab up another one of these runes, but this is exactly what the 3 heroes on Galaxy Racer need to be doing. You know, sure, it costs the life of the Ogre Magi, but Sand King, he's just trying to rush this Blink Dagger ASAP. He's very close, only about 700 gold away. They're going to be catching out Brewmaster, trying to give it over to kYxY. Yeah, because that Blink Dagger is really what's going to enable this aggressive movement. Like I was thinking as well, first item E-Blade is what they're going on AlaCrity.
Yeah, immense amount of burst is going to be able to come through, and well, now if the Bloodseeker, AlaCrity being at level 7 now, he's just free farming. Nothing really Bok can do. At least if AlaCrity shoves the wave in, he'll be able to get a little bit of farm onto the tower for the Bloodseeker.
And going into the Claymore on this Alchemist, so you'd assume that's that Battle Fury just to try and recover in any way possible, but Battle Fury gives no stats, so if you're getting jumped on, you are squishier than a piece of paper. Piece of papers aren't really that squishy. Squishier than a sponge, there we go.
Once again, jump in the back here. And dive right next to the T2 tower, but like, what is Boomy gonna really do, and what's a Brew 5 really gonna do? Feels like these are 2 supports where, unless you have your level 6s, your impact is a little bit lackluster, and I like this movement linking up to the bottom side by the bounties as well. Box still chucks up the ultimate, but Radiant, have they got the setup of the drag back? Yes, Arrow will hit the mark this time. Box relatively tanky though with all the stats he's got, so he's going to try and juke and find the kill on the Ogre before he dies. Almost gets denied as well. Yeah, 3 for 3 actually gets denied from the neutrals there. Okay.
Little win coming through. You're not minding if you're dying. Like, this is the thing with supports, you can afford to die a lot of the time because, oh man, they're going to get all 4 bounties as well, just denying more and more gold away from this Alchemist, who's been forced to not even max out his Grieval's Greed. He's just jungling, so he needs that acid spray to get it for full effectiveness.
How's he?
I'm not sure how I feel about this Battle Fury. Like, I feel like it's kind of a situation of necessity, but it's rough for sure. You're not going to be able to do much contesting. Misses out onto the Aether Remnant, though, onto the Keeper of the Light. Still onto the Gyro, though. Pops the cooldown and fall down.
Now we've got the level 6s coming through, so the Brew Impact, Boomy as well, being able to bring the rotation from Bok. So they're able to find Nikko, actually, and Cyclone's up the Mirana as well. Destrice does have a couple of leaps. It looks like now with the 2 U's, they can still continue to chase him down. The damage from Mac has got a maxed out Rocket Barrage, so he's able to secure a double kill for himself there.
And ironically, the first fight that the Sand King joins, they end up losing, and that was with the Blink Dagger.
Has fallen.
3-4-3's just going for this enabling sort of build with the Ignite. I think one value point in the Bloodlust is so important. You know, it just gives so much more extra movement speed. You've got the mana pool now at this stage to be able to sustain that casting 3 different abilities. And is that a smoke that just got popped out? Yeah, so the Roaming Ganking squad is continuing. Just all the eggs into this Kill the Alchemist basket. Some alright positioning from CML, just being able to stand at the top of these stairs, but that's not the target that they want. They know exactly who they've found. Blink Dagger, stun, dead.
Tino, even though he gets the ultimate off, I don't think it's going to matter. Yeah, we see just now the pickup potential is just even more through the roof because you've got this blink. You know, Nikko's also very close to the Yule Scepter, so that's just going to be another way. Now the Mirana can play with 2 heroes, the Void and also the Sand King. Just the dual pick-off attempt. I do wonder how they're going to try and contest this Ancient stack because they don't have the greatest way to be able to kill it off. Like I was thinking maybe because you don't have a lineup that's able to really take the Ancients at a quick succession. Oh, let's see, what do they got? Sandstorm is maxed out, and even if they drop everything, maybe they can.
Yeah. I mean, Caustic Finale, if you're able to kill one of those creeps, pretty damn good. Just because it's high max HP.
Dire's middle tower is
You
under
love to see that chain reaction going up, but yeah, look at how much emphasis they're putting on to just giving Tino anything. He's finished up that Battle Fury. Still an okay timing, you know, when all is said and done, but it's a case of how close the Morphling is to his E-Blade, and he's getting pretty close, only about 900 gold away.
CML is going to be able to find kYxY. They've also ruptured up 3-4-3. He's been pretty much the constant target here from Box Rupture, but they just kind of push him away from the tier 1 tower, make some space, force the Brew ulti, and now they're probably going to look to fight. It's very nicely done from Nikko. Gets the catch on CML just after the Primal Split expires, but kYxY is in. Jumps in with the Blink Bow Strike now and sets up for the arrow. Beautifully done. Galaxy Racer using this power spike and the weakness that Omega have, recognizing that the Alchemist still cannot show up. He did get the stack at the Ancient, so that is the big thing though from Omega, and I honestly think they're probably okay with that.
They're okay with it. I just want to see how these team fights go as soon as this E-Blade is picked up, because you thought they were aggressive before, you ain't seen nothing yet. And then, yeah, like, it's all team fight. You could see he's going into that Ags like you were thinking. Sand King, great hero to morph into. And, yeah, the BKB straight after that. So it's just going to be brawl, brawl, brawl. The vision battle is, again, going to be so important just to be able to find out wherever Tino is farming. And it's up to the rest of his team to try and create enough space for him. The only time he's showing up to any team fights is if Boomy lives and he's able to recall him in to, like, clean up a bunch of heroes that are on about 20% HP. And even then, that's pretty risky.
Yeah. You really even want to join a fight then, might not be worth it.
You got the Atos on the Bloodseeker, pretty standard, just be able to catch people out within the Blood Rite, of course. 4 very maneuverable heroes right now that suffer immensely if you are able to get that silence off onto them. Not going into the Gleipnir just yet. It's such a long build-up. It's a really great item for a Bloodseeker, but it's just about trying to live until you can get to that point.
Here we go, straight on top of Mac. Can they burst him down, however, Gyro? eating up a lot of stuns, but he hasn't lost too much of the health pool, so he's going to be able to turn AlaCrity, unable to burst him down. Now they're going to try and continue forward. AlaCrity still has the waveform. He's going to be able to get out of range of the blood right. Now kYxY with the counter initiation. They're back in. Nikko, actual step, a lot of damage on top of Bok. They're going to be able to... No, Bok actually scurries away. Oh my lord, he holds his ground. And now Tino even showing up as well, is doing a decent amount, trying to chase to the northern side. Nikko's in trouble. He doesn't have any more ultimate charge, and CML is just going to be able to control the Morphling. AlaCrity, E-Blade, waveform, bursts down finally the Bloodseeker, but he's still in trouble as well. Where's the setup for the stun afterwards? Looks like they're just going to leave AlaCrity. Too hard of a kill. Looks like they'll back off, get a lot of farm. They know there's still bounties as well, but unfortunately 343 already trying to head up top.
Even in the middle of that team fight, 343 was just making a beeline for the bounty rune that spawned. So he's doing his job as a support. He's just wanting to... I feel like he's been caught out in the middle of every sort of team fight, so I'm not sure how effective this Aether Lens is going to be for him. See here, more and more stacks being built up. Tino is going to be able to clean him. I thought that was really nicely done by Boomy as well in that team fight, using the blinding light to push the Sand King down onto the low ground, away from the fight, disrupts the sandstorm. Really nicely done again by Cobble. And yeah, it's just all about being able to sustain yourself within these team fights. Mac, he's finished up his Eternal Shroud, so this next gank attempt is going to be a little bit rougher for them. Although, is that a Yule Scepter completed on the Sand King? I think it is. Oh man, and on the Void Spirit.
Gee, they just melt through Bok. I was looking at the item pickup from the Coddle. I was really impressed with how Boomy, of course, played in that game one, but also the itemization was so on point in the first game, and now the second game as well. The Glimmer Cape is exactly what they need.
You can't afford to... You just need to be effective right now. You can't afford to wait. Like, your wait is on the Alchemist. Like, he is who you're waiting for. So don't try and make it more than one hero. It's not going to work out for you. Bullwhip picked up by AlaCrity. Going to give him a little bit more movement speed, sustain that mana pool somewhat more as he starts to build it up, having picked up the point booster. And man, even just on the supports from Omega Esports, laying down these sentries constantly around all of the ancient stacks, all of the neutral camps, because they know that's where Tino needs to farm. You can't be just giving it away. Who are they calling through? Oh man, he's even calling him down to the bottom side to make his movement throughout the map a little bit faster. This is a really good example of team play coming through from Omega.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Just farm. Get close to those items where Tino might be available to take these fights. At least kYxY been able to walk inside Roche though. They should be able to take this relatively easy. Sandstorm does a decent amount, and especially AlaCrity with the Blood Loss as well.
I feel like they just did nothing for a solid 2 minutes though on Galaxy Racer, which is a little surprising to be perfectly honest. Man, look at that. Like, Boomy puts out a half strength Illuminate just to take the creep wave a little slower so that Tino is able to move even like 3 seconds faster to the next set of creep camps. It is really good team play coming through from them, and now he's going into that BKB. He's already finished up the Sanjin Yasha, obviously going to be really effective with the status resistance against all of these stuns that they've got on the Galaxy Racer side. So, you know, despite how things went in the laning stage, they are giving him the best game possible.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Doing whatever they can to have this win condition really shine in the second game here. They want to make sure they can just have a quick and easy 2-0 victory. Well, this second game's not as easy, but especially if it doesn't go game 3, I'd say it's easy enough.
And it
looks like, yeah, he's...
So, Boomy's putting in work. Who are they calling in here? It's Tino. Hasn't yet finished up his BKB, but with this set of creeps, he should be able to. The real question is, do they want to fight into the Aegis? How confident are they feeling? It seems like very.
Well, in a choke point where they've got their ultimates, who knows what can happen. Just going to be careful of being...
How are they starting these team fights? That's another big question. Because, I mean, is it Atos? Atos into Bloodright and assume that you're going to get off one of these early Yule Scepters? Maybe just go on a target that doesn't have a Yule Scepter?
Well, it feels like the only way is like if they actually just run into the Brewmaster ulti up on a cliff.
Yeah.
Like you've got to get pretty lucky here that kYxY Racer just running blind. Otherwise, it's so difficult. I feel like also on Die, like you have to try and survive and just tank up as much as you can, because Radiant have a lot of initial burst damage, but afterwards it's going to start to get lackluster. Like the shotgun from the Morphling, that instant jump with the Sand King and the arrow follow up, like they want to burst you down at the start.
Yeah.
So if you kind of delay it a little bit, then it'll be like kYxY have to kind of scramble, reset, and go back in. And you see how they've itemized as well, like the Ogre going for a Veil, so just further helping out with that burst potential.
And they're going to be feeling pretty good because Destrice just finished up that Spirit Vessel, but they would have seen that the BKB is now completed on Tino. So this game is so reliant on kYxY's initiation. If he's able to get it off like this.
Oh, now the Alchemist picked up as well. Look at the jump from downtown. They still got the Epi, so it's kind of forcing a Mega away from the Morphling here. Forward if they want to.
Really nice. Disabling the blink again, the Burrow Strike, and we just saw the first usage out of that Ag Scepter on the Morphling. Sand King's stun. With the San Jinyasha, he would have actually been able to get out of the stun long enough to pop the BKB and the ultimate on the Alchemist. So, man, just these tiny little decisions, these split-second differentials, what's winning kYxY Racer these team fights right now.
Yeah. It's a 2,000 net worth lead, and you see very similar to last game though for kYxY Racer, where they had all their farm on one hero, and then the rest of the team, their position 2 and position 3 really didn't have anything. We even see actually for a Mega, it's Boomy, their position 4, that's ahead of the Bloodseeker at the moment.
It's like a lot of teams do funnel a lot of that farm priority into a Keeper of the Light. You're just so effective when you've got it. Even like you mentioned before, didn't go the Ag straight up, went the Glimmer Cape, important. Same sort of thing with that, with the 4-staff. If you're able to 4-staff away from that combination, the Sand King stun into the Mirana arrow, completely different team fight.
They found the Mirana, Atos, Blood Right, ruptured up, but now they still find the Alchemist once again, but this time he's able to get the ultimate, but still it does not matter. Radiant bursts him down successfully, but it looks like guys who want to try and take the team fight. CML with the Brewmaster split committed. Max gonna move him forward as well, but AlaCrity, this replicate arguments with the Sand King, it's just way too much. The Burrow Strikes left, right, and center. Their catches through the roof this game from kYxY Racer. They want more as well as Bok. You're set up on the back. AlaCrity just misses Boomy. That would have been a 2-for-1 special there. Blood Right zones him away, so they just get 2, but man, the Alchemist is still popping if he gets the ulti.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
BKB off though, that's the difference.
CML.
The range of the Ag stun with the Sand King, it's insane.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Just trying to shove these waves out. Doing a good job to try and defend their on Omega, but yeah, we've still yet to see that team fight where the Alchemist is a factor. And if you pick an Alchemist, you don't want only a 2.5k net worth lead over the next big core. You want to be basically doubling.
They caught him again. Boomy's got Glimmer. Still gonna try and jump in now, but the epicenter is unable to get the BKB off with the force up. Tino just stays alive. Can we get the extra regen? Tino, run, run. You need to keep your life. It looks like it doesn't matter though, as kYxY, they just turn to the rest of the heroes. Cotter will fall. Mac on deep the T2 tower. kYxY gotta be careful actually with the rupture though. Sets up for the arrow. They still just melt through the arrow. Turn for the extra core. A completely different kYxY Racer as they are punishing Omega's lineup.
Yeah, again, just caught out, unable to pop the BKB and the Ags until, what, 10% HP? Barely able to get away, taking advantage of the fact that they just straight up don't have right-click. But with the pathing that he went through and no TP available, it just means that it was a perfect follow-up there by Nikko, getting the Aether Remnant off, so that, well, you were, for lack of a better term, shit out of luck on this Alchemist.
Yeah, and now we're just seeing the items continue to funnel in as well for kYxY. And Aghanim's completed for Nikko. The Sand King, man, he's so farm. Blink, Yules, Hood, loving life. He's got the pipe completed as well. Such a good performance from kYxY Racer in this second game. They even got a DD on the Morphling, so they're still wanting to brawl, and they are just taking so much farm away. And they want to jump. They got an incredible ward on the back line. So the bot He's going to be in trouble here. They're going to still try and turn the fire from Omega. Brewmaster ultimate committed. Tino running in forward. At least they haven't been able to burst down the Alchemist to start. He's got the Chemical Rage and the BKB, so they'll deal with the Mirana. A long drawn-out fight. Let's see what Omega can get out of it. Still, AlaCrity's got to be careful because he's ruptured up, so they are kiting him to a decent level here, but now running up the high ground to the choke point. They got to be careful. They don't have the vision advantage now with the ruptures expired. Waveform forward block so incredibly fast here, but you got to keep in mind the BKBs and the Chemical Rage has worn off, so the Alchemist, he doesn't want to fight right now. Mac just runs into the middle, but he's like, hello, where are the rest of my cores? I need the help of the team, but unfortunately, he's just up to his lonesome self here as Radiant will kite him to an oblivion. They lose 3, still trying to chase down Boomy as well. Destrice did such a good job to kite away the cuddle.
Kites away the coddle, and Morphling basically soloed half the team there just on the backlights. It was an insane display, and you can see there, normally you see with a Morphling, you go the waveform attacks targets, but this is all just around their spells. That E-Blade having an extra couple of seconds where it's available, being able to be permanently the Sand King now, it's like, you were choked before, now it's even worse. Tino forced to run off into the trees. He is Tarzan there trying to snake his way through.
And it's also nice with the Alchemist pick up another thing that I was highlighting, that the Bloodseeker Rupture is a great way to deal with the Void Spirit because the range is 1100 and the damage is 1200, right, with the Rupture. So yeah, the Sand King with the Aghanim's, it goes up to 1400 range, which is just over, and that kind of enables the Morphling to get a lot of distance away. He was in a bit of a tricky spot, but you see they just run up the high gun, you know, reset the fight, turn it with their vision, and I'm struggling to see, yes, Omega have a lot of these team fight abilities, but the damage feels very lackluster at the moment, and also the stuns, that's another thing.
I feel like you can't die wandering right now on Omega. Like, they've got enough gold to be able to at least buy, for example, on CML, an Ogre Axe, just to be able to make him a little bit tankier for the start of these team fights. I feel like he's getting caught out a couple of times. He's nearly level 12 though, so he's going to have that little bit of extra time on the Primal Split, which is always good. Yeah, you need to play for buyback, but also just an efficient usage of your gold.
This is a game where Omega just have to try and split push the hell out of it until they feel content with taking engagements, or do they just group up as 5 on high ground and force a fight with their ultis?
Good luck doing that is all I can say. You know, they've got not the greatest maneuverability right now on kYxY Race's side, but I don't think they really care unless it's an Alchemist doing the split pushing. That's worth rotating someone through to. Mac, they don't really care too much about him. Like, they're going to rotate a couple of people through because they don't need the whole team for it. Oh, is this the... Oh, I think he just went a little bit too soon there, Nikko, onto the creep wave, but they might still find him. They do, and they use his TP as well.
Oh no, they were smoked up on kYxY, so as soon as it popped, they knew where the Gyrocopter was positioning. At least he, I guess, gets the creeps before he dies, but nonetheless, a nice maneuver down bottom from Radiant. And they're still continuing with the rest of 3 heroes from kYxY Racer. They're keeping Omega inside the base here. So when you've got an Alchemist lineup with like this, usually you're the ones with the net worth advantage, but the fact that kYxY Racer have a 10k net worth lead, it feels like it's probably almost 17k if the Alchemist wasn't in this game.
Yeah.
Which is artificial net worth on Dire.
Sure. For the earlier game, though, you might argue that you would have a core that's actually able to do something relative to Alchemist. It's gotten harder to Rusk now, so it's nice. Again, though, you've still got this Spirit Vessel available on the Mirana, so as long as Destrice, he's only got the 1 charge right now, is very careful about when and who he uses it on, it's still going to be pretty deadly. You just don't want it to get immediately blocked out by that BKB.
Die just trying to sweep through jungles constantly. You see they go top, drops the wards down, go bot, control the triangle. Roshan is back up. Have they scouted out? Yeah, they have. Okay. So there's Core inside. Looks like kYxY Racer. We're just waiting for the second one to respawn.
And that's the great thing on kYxY Racer's side. You know with supreme confidence that there is no way that they are going to be contesting this Roshan. Korea just dies to Rush. He turns around and just hits it. What?
There's always some weird, just neutral, I guess, yeah, neutral creeps and just dealing with Corys. It's so annoying when it flies past and you just see it get destroyed by a camp. And Roshan as well is just like, what?
Roshan has fallen to the ring.
There it is,
There we
the
go.
Aegis, the cheese picked up by the Morphling. Sand King left a little bit earlier, but not before giving away the replicate over to AlaCrity. So if a team fight was to break out, he's very easily able to join in. So I feel like it all just comes down to this high ground fight that's set to come in the next couple of minutes or so. Next big key item to come out is probably this Skadi on the Morphling. Again, we talked before about, are they actually going to try and dive super deep here?
Careful. Alchemist, however, might get caught out, but the arrows. Tino gets the BKB, now with Chemical Rage. The epicenter doesn't do enough damage. Tino getting a little bit of health back now. Alchemist going to try and move in forward, but AlaCrity's able to get the attribute shift off. They're still incredibly low on Dire. Look at the magic coming through of all the AoE. Dire got to be careful. I mean, they're buyback on CML, but Box trying to clean up kYxY, and he won't be successful. Beyond Gore-like straight for AlaCrity. He wants to go back in, fights Brewmaster. That's a dieback now. They're on top of the secondary support as well. Boomy's got to be careful, but he won't be able to disengage. Omega Esports, their base, they're just getting pushed further and further inside. They're in trouble here.
Is under attack.
Getting maybe a little bit too eager. I don't think they could be continuing to dive forward, but with that Sand King, it's always a possibility. They've got their eyes set on Mac.
Mac, okay. Boomy, he had the glimmer, but it just wasn't enough. And now with the buyback coming through, Radiant, have they gone a bit too far? Blinding Light, nicely done. It's going to stop a little bit of the damage here, but Mac's still in trouble. He just brought back for this, and he just has no protection. That's a dieback once again from Omega Esports. Sand King blinks up. kYxY Box trying to come through. He's still trying to just baiting at the moment. Alchemist on top of the back line. Chemical Rage back and available here, but Tino with the heart. We see the damage just really isn't there at the moment. AlaCrity's able to get the waveform away. Nikko as well, just no stuns, no damage, and Mega so hard to play Dota.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Oh no,
So you said
what
10k net worth lead was hard. How about 16 with no buybacks on a few heroes? Yeah, basically, does anyone have it left? No. No, nobody has it left right now on Omega's side.
Easy shot.
So yeah, that was an example of some really good Spirit Vessel charges, but you saw there, like, the Alchemist is able to survive if they're just able to withstand that first initial burst. So vision, so important. The Keeper of the Light's positioning. If you're able to get that Glimmer Cape off, it can turn a team fight around.
Even if the Alchemist survives, though, it doesn't feel like they have this full term potential. Like, no Aghanim's on Coddle.
All of the heroes right now on Galaxy Race's side have some way to do damage. Right now, it feels like it's only the Alchemist that's been enabled somewhat.
My loyalty.
It's like they all just dip out as well. You got Mirana with Leap, AlaCrity's got Burrow Strike as the replicate, kYxY's got Burrow Strike, Void Spirit's heavily mobile
CML's dead
with
again.
his toolkit.
Doesn't have buyback, and he loses the point booster. Maybe if he had the Ogre Axe like us. And now you've got the Skadi as well on top of that. So the reducing the heals coming through from the Alchemist as well. Going to be really effective. 40% reduction there, so you don't even need to rely fully on that Spirit Vessel.
Well, they can definitely jump them. If they drop a ward down Tino, he does not have Chemical Rage at the moment, so he's going to be careful with his positioning. But they've been able to catch up the Alchemist outside the base. Tino pops the BKB. AlaCrity wants a waveform in. He's dealt with the Lincolns, but he's still got this extra life still to be able to utilize here. And you see Radiant, they're just waiting to make sure if they jump too aggressively on AlaCrity, then you've got kYxY, you've got Nikko, and if Dire show themselves too far, you see how deep AlaCrity can go because he doesn't care. He can commit in with the Burrow, he can disengage with the waveform. He's always able to get the attributes. There we go. They overstep the mark. Boomy pays the price there. He's down for 75. CML has popped the primal split, but it's to no avail. There's just, it seems like it's it. Without stuns, this game is so hard to play.
And there we go. They've finally been able to break a tier 3 tower. So Rack's starting to go down. Base pushing in. The right click damage, while it's not really there, still enough to take it down. And yes, that's the epicenter.
Yet to have the BKB on the Gyro. They're just running from one to another. Now they'll deal with Tino, but they can just kite the Alchemist. Such a defensive toolkit that he's got. BKB,
not enough.
Skadi. Yeah, they're going to have to call it quits. This going to game 3. Galaxy Racer looking incredibly strong after this game. Night and day difference.
Pick those stuns. That's all it is. And yeah, I'm not sure really what they were expecting with a Brewmaster Alchemist lane against probably one of the strong